afternoon, everyone. 안녕하세요, 여러분. 大家好. How many of these languages did you understand? How many of these readings did you understand? Answering this question for any language's greeting will divide you into being monolingual and multilingual. Speaking only your mother tongue makes you monolingual, and speaking 2 or more languages fluently in daily life makes you multilingual. I'm a multilingual student because I have a South Korean nationality, but I attended an international school in China. Since my school uses English, I learned to speak 3 languages naturally. As you have seen, the title of my speech is The Story Behind a Multilingual Brain. You might be wondering why I'm talking to you about this. As I explained earlier, the international school I attend provides opportunities to students to learn both Mandarin and English. But why? I had this question in my head for all those years learning 3 languages at once. Recently, I felt like I found an answer to it, so I decided to share with this international audience. Today, I will explain the whys and hows about learning new languages. Why is it important to learn new languages? Why should we learn new languages? How does learning new languages benefit you? To explain, I'll share some ideas about how learning new languages benefits you scientifically, socially, and in other ways you might not be expecting. Let us start the story behind the multilingual brain. To start, learning new languages benefits you scientifically. In other words, it benefits your brain. The most important parts of your brain that are used for language are the Broca's area and Wernicke's area. Although it is not clearly proven yet, since damage to the Broca's area leads to impaired speech, scientists predict that the Broca's area is in charge of letting us form syllables that mouths. Similarly, since damage to the Wernicke's area leads to complete nonsense being spoken, scientists predict that the Wernicke's area is responsible of letting us understand language. These 2 areas, together with the basal nuclei, form a complete language implementation system. Other areas that are used for language are the angular gyrus, archifasciculus, primary motor cortex, primary visual cortex, and the primary auditory cortex. What would this look like in a real-life conversation? Let us say that a friend asked you, what flavor of ice cream are you eating? Your friend's voice is converted to signals and first sent to the primary auditory cortex, and is then conducted to the Wernicke's area. In Wernicke's area, the words are comprehended and a reply is generated. The reply is sent through the archifasciculus to the Broca's area, and it is finally sent to the primary motor cortex. The primary motor cortex controls the muscles in your mouth so you can respond. When the reply arrives at its final destination, you respond, "It's chocolate flavored. Do you want some?" On the other hand, when you want to read aloud the sentence, "The ice cream truck comes up the street," the words are first sent to the primary visual cortex, and is then conducted to the angular gyrus, which converts the words into the corresponding auditory signals. The signals are then sent to the Wernicke's area for comprehension, and it is finally conducted through the Broca's area to the primary motor cortex, so you can move the muscles in your mouth to respond. These 2 examples can be understood as brain exercises, and by doing this more often, your brain's Broca's area, Wernicke's area, and primary motor cortex will be more developed than the ones who do not. In addition to the development of these parts of the brain, being able to speak more than one language can help delay Alzheimer's disease or dementia for up to 5 years. A study from Alzheimer's Society uses brain scans of elderly people to show that lifelong multilinguals have a stronger connection with some parts of their brain compared to monolinguals. In conclusion, scientists prove that being able to speak more than one language has surely helped delay Alzheimer's disease or dementia. Further studies have also shown that being made multilingual, especially from a young age, can help enhance brain activity, even during rest. A study conducted by Dr. Frédéric Lajoie and her fellow scientists introduces a new experiment into 3 groups of children: a monolingual group, early bilingual group, a later bilingual group. All 3 groups of children were told to think of nothing and stare at an X, while scientists measured their brain activity during rest. The results showed that the early bilingual group had the highest brain activity, which suggests that being multilingual, especially from a young age, is the most beneficial to brain activity. Other studies have also shown that being multilingual means that you'll have higher learning, focusing, and comprehension skills than others. Overall, learning a new language is like upgrading your brain to another level, and it can help benefit your speech and actions in daily life. Now that we have covered the scientific benefits, let's talk about how learning a language benefits you socially. Learning a new language can help you understand different cultures, make new friends from all over the globe, and think more critically in daily life. For example, being multilingual changed my life entirely compared to the times I was monolingual. I started my second language, English, at the age of 3. Although I started Mandarin much later in first grade, I could build it up more quickly because I already had the experience of learning a new language. I also became more confident when speaking to others because I had a higher chance of understanding them and having an actual conversation. However, the most significant change was probably being able to understand different cultures. Every time I go back to South Korea, I tell my Korean friends all about this whole new world of Chinese culture. Most of this Chinese culture requires the knowledge of Mandarin characters to understand them. For example, every Lunar New Year, Chinese people stick the letter Fu, which means luck, upside down on walls and doors. They do this because flipping it over, or dao, is a similar pronunciation with the word dao, which means arrive. Overall, Chinese people believe that flipping the luck sign over makes the luck arrive to both your family and you. There are a handful of these kinds of traditions in Chinese culture, and most of them require the knowledge of Mandarin characters to understand them. This is about me and my personal experience, but some of you in the audience might be wondering why I'm highlighting my experience for understanding different cultures. You might even be wondering, why can't we just let artificial intelligence, or AI in short, understand different cultures and learn languages for us? To explain, I'll first share a simple example. An American company and a Chinese business are having a conference meeting, but both sides do not need to learn each other's languages because they had translation applications installed on both of their devices used for a conference. The American company replied, shared many ideas, and the Chinese business replied 可以 or yes on most of the ideas presented. The American business understood it as a complete agreement, but the Chinese business actually only meant to say yes to be polite. They do not make an actual decision yet. At this point, it might seem like it is completely the Chinese business' fault on the miscommunication, but it is not. When it comes to translating the Mandarin word 可以 into English, yes is the correct answer. But when it comes to Chinese culture, 可以 does not literally mean yes, but it is a polite way to say that I'm still thinking about it. In this case, their language is connected, but their thoughts are not. In a similar way, Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, once said at the graduation speech at MIT, "I'm not afraid of artificial intelligence teaching computers the ability to think like humans. I'm more concerned about humans thinking like computers, without values or compassion, without concern for consequences." This quote introduces the idea that humans are starting to think like computers, with less emotion in their speech and actions, relying on technology. Technology was made to connect us, but it is dividing us psychologically in the end. Technology is developing as we speak, but we should never forget the most fundamental purpose of all the best tech companies around the world. Instead of just building up knowledge, we should deeply think about how to understand each other and how to benefit both the world and our lives. We need to understand each other's languages so that we can hear each other's hearts, serve humanity, and reconnect us. As Frank Smith, a British psycholinguist, once said, "One language sets you in a quarter for life. 2 languages open every door along the way." Your future is bright with so many possibilities. Now, why not go ahead and apply for Spanish, Arabic, or Tagalog classes? Thank you. 감사합니다. Yes,